So the concept of I'm not my body, I even used not to meet this.
You see, one thing you mentioned in your talk also was, the other night, was about mirror neurons. I hadn't heard that before. And you were saying, I think, these mirror neurons, they mirror your experience back to you.
Exactly. So, but before we go, as we're speaking now, because it's quite interesting, because the way we're speaking, that we are moving from the mental level, we have touched some emotional levels, I don't know if you can sense it, that as we are giving a little more attention to our embodiment, that we become more conscious of the body. Do you feel this? Just for one instance, just you can, as we're speaking, it's not observing it, it's just noticing that we're becoming more aware of what's actually happening simultaneously in our nervous system.
Okay.
Yeah. So as we continue our conversation, it would be lovely to explore and to see what happens to us, to the reorganization of our system, when we give attention there, when we include this, when we include the body, which very rarely in spiritual traditions is included. It is because in this we need to include sexuality, all this, what we don't like, aggression, anger, which is a very physical experience, those things we still try to control, and we control it not by doing things, we just avoid it, we just don't go there. We said, okay, I'm not my body, why should I care why should I deal with that? So as we're here now, just noticing that if it's possible to include the body in our exploration. And what I've noticed is in the moment I can meet my experience, the experience of now, showing up as a multi-sensual experience in my own system, I noticed that I can meet other people too. The first time I felt like now I meet other people. I'm not meeting them with my mind. I'm not meeting them emotionally. It's a literally and it's embodied meeting. I can feel you. I can sense you in me. And that brings me to your question, to the mirror neurons. I got to learn about them about 1.5 years ago, that the neuroscientists found a particular cell structure in our nervous system that they call mirror neurons. And they're only responsible for the following. They have the capacity to track what's showing up in you, in the opposite, in the outside world, and they're mirroring that back into the nervous system so that you can feel the outside as your own self.
Right.
Which is actually very profound, what we're speaking.
Unbelievably profound, yeah.
What we're actually having, we have a physical preoccupation that I would call that enables us to have compassion. What is compassion? Is feeling everything as my own self. To feel with is compassion. So if I'm feeling you now, it's not emotional. It is that my body, if I tune in, our bodies start to share informations. Our nervous system start to share what's going on. There's a mental exchange, there's an emotional exchange, but a much more complete exchange on a physical level, on a cellular level. So as we're doing this, it's quite interesting. We participate on each other, at each other. You learn from me, I learn from you, but not consciously. It's more like that our bodies start to exchange what we have to offer to each other.
It's like energetic to a degree.
Yes. It's energetic, but it includes all. It's mental, emotional, energetic, cellular. It's a
meeting at all levels.
I call it a fully embodied meeting.
It's a breaking down of the two eyes, isn't it?
Exactly. Where are you now? I mean, if we include this, you have to literally tell me where's the boundary between you and me. Where do you end? Where do I begin? Tell me. Where do you find the boundary? Where does Iain stops? And where does Florian begin? Very difficult to find, huh? So we cannot even speak of an experience of Iain and an experience of Florian. If we just tune in, all we're having is experiencing. There's the experience of now that is experienced by two nervous systems, and to whom does it belong? Is it your experience? Or is it my experience? Can you say?
It's an experience.
It's experiencing.
Yeah.
It is experienced by us. And if I would speak to people who sit with us or who may watch, if they would just tune in, they would have the same experience. So we cannot even say that it belongs to me or I give it to you. It is already there. But as we're not utilizing the full capacity of our embodiment, we are split. But the split is not from the outside. The split is that we're splitting ourselves off of levels of our experience that we don't want to experience, which is mostly very embodied. We are not used to be in our bodies. That means, on a practical level, most of us, we don't have much ground contact.
Yes.
We're just not here.
And I think the way the world is going, everything's speeding up the whole time and more extreme. That gets more and more of a challenge.
What is speed?
Florian, we're going to have to finish now.
Oh,
We've just
already?
got to the end of our time, I'm afraid. But I want to say, first of all, that Florian has several books out. One called Space, one called Given, one called Being. I think there's a new one being written at the moment, isn't there?
Yes, it will be published next year, and my publisher and me, we're just working on it, and it will be in prose form, not in conversation format like those books.
Okay,
in
great.
a nice prose format, so
Yeah.
everybody can read it as a text. Yes.
Good. I thank you very much for coming along, sharing your story and your wisdom.
Yes.
The end was a little premature in one way. We were just starting something new, but
Yeah.
we have the reality of time in this dimension.
Absolutely.
And, that's the way it is.
And I'd be happy to, if there's interest, to continue at where we just stopped, because I think it's a very interesting subject, if it's possible to bring this quality of consciousness into our body so that we can live it in our life, that it becomes a living reality, which is what I love the most, and what I'm happy to share this with you, at least for the last hour.
Okay. And thank you everyone for watching Conscious TV, and hopefully we see you again soon. Goodbye.